Hello, my name is Naive Libertarian Politics, and today I'm going to do a mini-sode, episode 2.5 of my History of the Republican series, which we are going to go over the policies and a little bit of the division within the Republican Party in the late third-party system and early fourth-party system. So let's get straight into it. So first we have the pages of the third-party system, fourth-party system to help, signify what's happening. So first, we're going to go to Grover Cleveland, which is going to help signify the Republican Party's philosophies and some of the divisions. So you can see that the Republican Party was a economically regulatory. It was a classically liberal party. It was nothing big. It was mostly just like tariffs. It was mostly just tariffs that they wanted to. They were an economically regulatory party through the fact they wanted tariffs. They were the northern party of industry, so they wanted tariffs and economic regulations that would help their people. They weren't economically regulatory in the way you think now with progressives wanting to put on these like environmental regulations. They consider it more of a Theodore Roosevelt kind of type. Protectionism. Protectionism is the word, is the term. They were protectionists. They wanted to protect their corporate, their economy, so they would do tariffs and all this kind of stuff, which would help. You can see, which the Republican Party dominated during this time, so it was obviously popular philosophies. Um, and you can see Grover Cleveland was one of the first Democrats. He was the only Democrat to really win during the third-party system, and he was anti-tariff. He was an anti-tariff person, and you can see he won 2 elections. He was the only Democrats to win, so it was obviously not very popular philosophies, uh, anti-tariffs. So the Republicans were the party of protectionism. In a way, they still are. In a way, they've been for most of their existence, actually. And yeah, so let's jump up here to silver. This is going to show another way the Republican Party was divided. You can see free silver. One of the greatest issues of the late third party system and the early fourth party system was whether the currency should be backed by gold and silver or just gold. Gold was more of it was the gold standard, but gold and silver would be more, so there was more silver, so it could be more inflationary, which would in a way help if you're into that kind of philosophy. But yeah, and the way it was dividing because it wasn't divided along party lines. There were Western Republicans and Southern Democrats who were in favor of silver. They were the Silverites, and you have the Northeastern Democrats and Republicans who were pro just gold. And yeah, and yeah, that's really one of the biggest divides you see in the third party system. And yeah, you can see that another one of the proof that the Republicans were the protectionist party is that you can see they passed antitrust acts, which were it was more populist than what you think of as protectionist, but it was small business protectionism, you could say, which is it's not necessarily a bad idea, but it's something. You can see they passed the Antitrust Act, Sherman Antitrust Act, the McKinley Tariff Act, which all were all protectionist-ish philosophies. Whatever you may consider the regulation of big business, big tech almost, but you can see the antitrust acts can resonate within today, in the form of these big tech, anti-big tech Trumpian populists, which it's very resonating of the older Republican Party. And yeah, you can see even down here, yeah, there was a realignment in 1896 at the beginning of the fourth party system, um, which it was the party of big business, um, right up until they started doing trust busting, which was near the end, which started the movement from the protectionist towards towards the more libertarian, idealist, free trade kind of people, which you could really start, which really started occurring in 18 or 1920s with Calvin Coolidge, and then you have Herbert Hoover, who was a regulation, or he was a regulator, but he was one of the last regulators for a long while in the Republican Party. You'd see Alf Landon, all these people. They were pro small business. They were pro, free trade. They were like libertarians, you could say. But you can see there was in 1896 there was a realignment, and this started the movement from the protectionists. They stayed protectionist for their most of their existence. They still are somewhat protectionist, but they had moved towards this form of how do you say it? They moved towards small business capitalism, which was it was a big transition, and it improved the transition from their protectionists, which they stayed somewhat protectionist for their entire existence to this day, but they moved from their super protectionist philosophies towards libertarian philosophies. As you can see, they stopped doing all these tariff things, which would not really go away until the 1830s or 1930s, but yeah, it would really show they were starting to move towards what the Democrats were, as people's ideologies changed towards more liberal philosophies, as they'd become the true classical liberals as they wanted to be when they were first founded. You can see here's the 1892 election. This just shows, this is basically the end of the third party system. Grover Cleveland, he was a pro gold standard. He was anti free silver, but he was um, he was he was a real, what you would call a Republican today. He was real free economically, almost you could say a libertarian, but not really. He was anti-tariff, which Republicans never, despite becoming the party of, despite becoming the antitrust small business party, never really dropped tariffs, which is really how they kept their title of protectionism. But they Grover Cleveland was a anti-tariff, somewhat pro small business, pro agriculture, because the South had not yet become the agricultural, had now become an industrial region, which it is now, despite it just is now. And Benjamin Harrison, he was a normal Republican, protectionist. And what you need to take from this video is that in the early 1890s, the Republicans were protectionists, and then they started moving towards anti-big business philosophies, and then moved slowly to being libertarians, which they cemented for a very long time until they started moving back to protectionism in the, you could say, 70s, 80s, 60s, maybe 90s if you want to go that late. But yeah. Yeah, this is just my opinion. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Um, you know, my name is Naive Libertarian Politics, so expect more words to come in the future. I'm making a video every day for the most part, so expect another video tomorrow. Um, Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.